Hi everyone, I'm Miss Amy. I wanted to do a semi-quick, we'll see, video about holiday meltdowns and sensory overload. I know this year is not really going to look the same for everybody. Not everybody's having a ton of family in town. Not everybody's traveling. Um, but I think there's a lot of things this year that'll be the same. If not, I think a lot of us parents can safely say that we're going to be overcompensating in some ways for our kids. Because it just feels like the right thing to do. A little bit of background on me. I've worked at YSA for like 2.5 years, but I've been in early childhood education for 13 years. I love working with infants and toddlers. I work right now in Infant A with Miss Sarah. I love learning about brain development and those sorts of things about the kiddos and just kind of learning what makes them tick. I also have two boys of my own, and our oldest kiddo has sensory processing disorder and autism spectrum disorder. So we've seen firsthand a lot of what the holidays can do to our kiddos. And I think it's something that's important to kind of be aware of as parents ourselves. I know what we go through a lot of sensory overload. So being aware of how our kids are receiving that input and handling it and making sure that we're noticing it and helping them get through it will be huge, especially this year. So first thing is, what is sensory overload? It's basically what it sounds like. You have five senses, right? And if you think back to your favorite memories as a child, Christmas, Thanksgiving, any holidays that you celebrate, the first thing you're going to think back to is things that you saw. You have lights, you have the trees, you have very shiny, sparkly things, you have lots of people, lots of things happening, a lot of bustle around your house. Then you have smells. I know I love cinnamon and clove smells, lots of different foods cooking, lots of different things baking, just a lot of those smells around the house. You've got sound, a lot of Christmas and holiday music that is just really fun and festive and just kind of cheers you up just to have playing in the house. But you've also kind of got that bustle of dishes and things being done in the kitchen and blending and whisking and all that fun stuff. So there's a lot of sounds. Then you've got taste, obviously, lots of things that these kiddos are trying. In our classroom, we have a lot of kiddos that are about that 8 to 10 month range. So they're going to be trying a lot of these fun foods, but there's a lot of them and it can be overwhelming. The last one is touch, which is one that I find parents try to kind of, I can't think of the word, but make it so that their kids aren't doing this. But we're offering a lot of temptation when it comes to these things, like wrapped presents and ornaments and the tree, things that are put out, maybe heirlooms and traditions, but we don't want our kids touching them. So those are the five senses that can get overwhelmed. But what does it look like? What are you looking for in your kiddos? You can see a lot of the main things that you would think bad behavior, not necessarily bad behavior, being very restless, being very clingy, anxious, crying a lot. These sorts of things you may see, especially with the 8 to 10 month old. I say this because that's a big part of our classroom right now, is that 8 to 10 month age slot, which can be kind of difficult anyway because there's a huge sleep regression and brain leap that happens at that age. So you're slamming a lot of stuff on top. But anywhere from this age all the way to the 3 and 4 year olds, this is kind of something you can see with them. So it's things that can be attributed to that bad behavior, and you'll hear a lot of in-laws and grandparents saying, why are they being so bad? And we're stressed out ourselves. So it's kind of one of those things where we're stressed out. Our kids seem to be acting out. We've got that pressure from family to have these perfect children who are seen and not heard, right? So there are a few things that you can do to offset this. The first is going to be removing yourself and removing your child from the situation. Go to a dimly lit room. I know my kiddos love coloring, they love reading, they love just watching their own little show on Netflix or YouTube. There are some really cool websites. There's one called books.com. They've animated books so that somebody's reading them to them, if that's something that, dimly lit room, you can't see the book. Put on some soft music, kind of just separate them. It'll calm you down, it'll calm them down. It'll kind of reduce some of that extra input that's coming into their brains, and it'll be huge. Second, just kind of give your kiddos the words and the validation. Sometimes they're not going to know how to communicate what they're feeling. And validating them just kind of is one of those huge things. I understand that you're feeling this way. Let's go figure this out together. How can we take care of this? The third is probably going to be one of the most difficult, and that is letting your kids in on everything. If you're setting presents out and you're blocking them off from that, kids aren't born with willpower. They don't have that instilled in them already. I mean, it's hard. We're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and willpower is exhausting. But we're asking the same thing of infants and toddlers, and it's not fair. If you want them to stay away from presents, put them somewhere they can't get them. Let them explore that tree. Put safe ornaments on there. Put things that they can touch. Make a discovery bin that has lights and, tinsel and just things that they can kind of manipulate themselves, and it'll be great. Let them into the kitchen. There are a lot of things in the kitchen that the kiddos can do. They can whisk, they can stir, they can help you move things from the bowl to the pan in however way you'd like them to. There are so many different things that they can help you with. Just bring them into that. And let them be a part of it and make those memories. It'll bring a lot of the stress off of you. It'll bring a lot of the stress off of them. And I think everybody will be a lot happier for it. So just some things to think about this season. I know it's something that we learned really quickly with our first, that we were expecting too much from him and we needed to take a step back, slow things down, and it was a lot better afterwards. If you have any questions about sensory overload, feel free to reach out. Jordan can connect you with me. I've got a sensory processing special needs child with the sensory processing disorder and the autism. I've got lots of tips and tricks that I can help you with. So just let us know, and hopefully it won't be an issue. Everybody can have these great holiday times and slow down and just really create some awesome memories.